Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Katie. So today is going to be another full face of first impressions video. This is for November. I didn't do one for October. I just wanted to give my money a bit of a break that month. But we're back. November has just started. Halloween is over. I still have fake blood in my hair. I only managed to get one Halloween video out. I wanted to ideally do another, but I practiced things and things just didn't work. They just didn't stick on my face the way I wanted them to. So only one Halloween video, I'm afraid, but that's okay because we are moving on. Got a whole bunch of products. I brought everything from Beautybay. I've got some Zoeva. I've got some Beautybay's own brand, Milani. Got a Juvia's Place eyeshadow palette. Whole bunch of different products today. So let's get started. Okay, so I always like to start off with the concealer just so I can test out the coverage on my eye area, just because I feel like it's good to see on bare skin how a concealer performs. Obviously most people use concealer over foundation. I do generally, but I'm just curious about how it looks on bare skin. So the concealer I bought is from Zoeva. This is their Authentic Skin Perfector Retouch Concealer. I got mine in the shade, I think where are you? I got mine in the shade 030 Actual, which I think was like the lightest, warmest shade. It looks like this. Very cute. I did also get the foundation and the setting powder, but we will try those later in the video. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom into my eye area. So not really checked out the colour properly yet. I mean, if I'm honest, the shade is perhaps a bit darker than what I'd like. The foundation is definitely like way paler. I'm starting to think maybe I should have just gotten the lighter shade of the concealer. I mean, it's definitely very warm toned and it's fair, obviously, but I don't know, I feel like maybe I should have gone for the light shade, which I think was like Anglo or something, but that's okay. So I'm just putting this on one under eye and eyelid so I can compare it to a bare eye. Okay, so that's the concealer side by side with no concealer. You can tell the difference. Well, I would say it probably is more on the matte side. I think it's got decent coverage, but I wouldn't say it's like full coverage in my opinion, because I can still see my bag a little bit. I can still see veins on my eyelid a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a full coverage concealer. It has got pretty good coverage, but I don't know. I personally just like a tiny bit more coverage than that. I think the shade works better once it's kind of like blended into the skin. I feel like it goes a little bit lighter. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. The finish is okay. A little bit creasy, but I find that all concealers are creasy on me because I have very kind of deep set eyes anyway, so that doesn't bother me that much. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not blown away, but it's alright, I guess. We'll see how it works over foundation. So I'm just going to wipe this off my under eye and put some on my other eyelid and make a base for some eyeshadow. Okay, so I've made a base for some eyeshadow. I've actually brought two eyeshadow palettes. So one of them is from Beautybay. This is their Pastels Palette. It looks like this. It's just full of pastel shades. Like, I don't really have a lot of pastels in my collection, so I kind of just, you know, I wanted something that had some. I also got a palette from Juvia's Place. This is the Warrior Free. It looks like this, and that's what the shades look like. You've got a lot of kind of matte, colourful shades, a couple of shimmers at the bottom. I thought it would actually probably go with the pastel palette quite well. I tried one palette from Juvia's Place before. It was the Saharan Palette, and I did really like that one, so I figured that this one would probably be good too. It did have really good reviews on Beautybay. Pastels Palette I think has mixed reviews, but I don't know, I feel like a lot of people like kind of use pastel palettes wrong anyway, because I feel like the whole point of them is that you're using over the top of more like vibrant shades to give it like a pastel-y effect, rather than just using them by themselves, or maybe using them to like blend out eyeshadows instead would be a good way to use them. I mean, we've got some colours here, so I'm going to do something quite colourful, I think. I will just go off camera and do one eye and then repeat it on the other eye on camera. Hopefully I can create some sort of nice look with these two. We'll see. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I'm back. I've done a sort of rainbow eye. That thing I'm notoriously bad at. It looks okay. It could look better, but you know what? It's just a bit of fun. I'm just playing around. So let's try and do it again. Starting with the Juvia's Place, the Warrior No. 3 palette. I'm starting with the yellow shade. This one here. That's going in the crease, just in the inner third. I have to say, the Juvia's Place palette, I'm very impressed with the pigmentation of all of the shades that I've used. I know like rainbow palettes, generally I feel like I have a lot of issues with the formulas of them, but I feel like all of these ones have performed well. The Pastel Palette, I feel like I'm not so sure of at the moment, but we'll see. But so far the Juvia's Place palette I'm very impressed with. I mean, that is a really good yellow. So in the Pastel Palette I'm using First Light, which is the pastel-y yellow colour, and I'm just putting a little bit of that kind of above and slightly into it. Again, I mean, it works. Like, the texture of these are quite chalky, but I feel like a lot of pastel palettes tend to have a chalky texture. Like, it does work. It does have a lot of fallout though. I don't know, I feel like it's just the sort of thing where I'm going to have to get the hang of applying it. Then I'm using the purple shade, Candice, in the Juvia's Place palette. And that's going in the next segment of the eye, in the crease. Again, this is very pigmented. And it works really well. And then I'm using the sort of lilac-y shade in the Pastel Palette. This one. And again, sort of putting a bit of that above and into that purple. Then I'm using the green in the Juvia's Place palette. Again, very impressed, and I love me a green. I love me a good green because green is my favourite colour, but I find like a lot of the green palettes that I've tried tend to just not work very well. But again, I feel like this one has performed pretty well so far. I mean, obviously this is just my first use of it, so I will need to play around with this palette a lot more. But again, I'm applying this in the outer third. Then using the minty green pastel shade, and same sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not sure I got the blend very good there, but you know, it was just a bit of fun. Right, I'm not an expert, don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just playing around. So I'm using the Zoeva Concealer, and I'm going to do a bit of a cut crease. So in the inner third, I'm using this blue shimmer here. I'm super impressed with this. This is absolutely stunning. You know, when I swatched it at first, I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty, but applying it to the eyes, oh my god, it is literally stunning. Just look at it. Isn't it nice? Then I'm using the matte pink and putting that in the rest of that cut crease. Then I did put a bit of the pastel pink shade over that pink. Okay, I think that will do. The blending is not perfect, but yeah, it's just a little fun pop of rainbow. I would say overall I'm very impressed with the Juvia's Place palette. The Pastel Palette, I mean, I think it does what it should do, like it did just add a bit of pastel over the bright shades. Just now realised that I bought an eye base from Beautybay and I completely forgot to use it. I will use it in one of my next videos. Oops. I do have an eyeliner for the waterline, so this is from Beautybay. It's a crayon eyeliner and it is the black one. They have loads of different colours. They had some pastel ones as well, which I don't know, I was kind of tempted, but I bought a load of colourful eyeliners from Barry M recently, so maybe in the future I'll get the pastel ones, but this is just a twisty up one. So I'm just going to apply this to my top and bottom waterlines. Okay, so it's definitely pigmented, it applies pretty easily. So yeah, I've not really got any issues with that. Obviously I've still got to test how it wears and stuff, but yeah, that seems like a pretty decent kohl eyeliner. So the one thing that I didn't actually purchase was a mascara, because I mean, I've got so many mascaras on the go anyway, so I'm just going to use, I think I'll use Maybelline Lash Sensational. Okay, so moving on to base, as I said earlier, I have got the foundation from Zoeva. So this is the Authentic Skin Natural Luminous Foundation. It's in the shade 010 Aglow. So the packaging looks quite similar to that Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation that I know loads of people like, so maybe it is a dupe for it. I mean, it's not like this is a cheap foundation. I think it was like about £20. I did see some good reviews for it because I was like at first not sure if I wanted it. I mean, it does say it's like a luminous foundation, and generally I prefer a more matte or a more semi-matte, but then I feel like I saw some reviews saying that it wasn't like super glowy. So okay, so the shade is super pale. I think I should have gotten the same shade in the concealer as well, to be honest. It might even be like a little bit too light for me, which is workable. So yeah, let's just blend this in all over. It is definitely more of a neutral undertone, I'd say. Okay, so that's the foundation applied. I say it's probably more like a satin sort of finish. Like, it definitely does have some glow to it. It's not like super matte or anything, but it's not like really oily at the same time. Coverage is not bad. It's not like full coverage, but I'd say it's like a solid medium coverage. I'm not disliking how it's looking. The finish isn't like amazing. Like, I don't feel like it's, I don't know, it's not, I don't feel like it's making my skin look amazing. My skin is quite bad at the moment because of mascara. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not disliking it, but I'm just not really sure. I think I need some more time with this foundation. I guess I'll use my Zoeva Concealer. Again, this is gonna look, yeah, quite a bit darker than the foundation. I really should have just gone for the lightest shade, I think. See, from the swatches online though, it didn't look like this shade was that much darker, but I guess that was just a little bit misleading. Okay, the concealer definitely has bumped up the coverage, blended out nicely over the top of the foundation. Obviously the shade I feel like is dark for me, but because the foundation was a bit too pale, overall I look like a good colour match even with the concealer, because I mean the kind of paleness of the foundation balanced out the darkness of the concealer, if that makes sense. Okay, so for setting powder, I have actually got two. So again, I've got the Zoeva one. It's the Authentic Skin Finishing Powder, and I've got the shade Dazzling, which is the lightest one. It's got like a bit of a pink shift to it, which I'm not sure how that's going to work. I have tried a few like powders that have like a bit of a pink tint before, and I find that they worked like pretty decently. They didn't leave my face looking pink or anything. So hopefully that's the same thing with this one, but it's got like a little mesh net. Then I did also get a powder from Revolution Pro. It's their CC Perfecting Pressed Powder in Warm Ivory. I have wanted this one for quite a while actually. It has a really nice packaging, and that's what it looks like. The shade is very fair. That should work for me perfectly fine. It's got a very velvety, soft texture as well, which is great. We like that in a powder. So what I think I'll do is I'll use the Zoeva one to set my under eyes, and then I'll use the Revolution Pro one to set the rest of my face down. Okay, so the lid of the Zoeva one, it has this weird thing in it, so that's going to be quite difficult to tap powder into, which is just something that I find a little bit annoying when it's not just a regular lid, so you have something to actually tap the powder into. I just feel like that's I don't even know what this is. It's like a button. Like, what is this? So I've just tapped some of it into a different lid. It is very pale. It's got a slight pink tint. As you can see, it's quite fine. It seems very thin, which, I mean, is that a good thing? I don't know. So I'm just going to use a fibery sponge to set my under eyes. These are actually the Beautybay ones. I did buy them with this haul. I've used them once so far and it seemed to work okay. So I'm just going to tap out all of my creases and set my under eyes down. Okay, so my under eyes are set. I mean, I've not really got any major issues so far. I feel like it's slightly oxidized my makeup. I can see like a little bit of a like different tint in the colour to the rest of my face. So I'm not sure about that. I think there may be a bit of oxidization with this powder, but I feel like it set my under eyes down like decently. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the Revolution Pro powder now, and I'm going to set the rest of my face down with this guy. So the powder has a nice texture. It's obviously mattified everything down really nicely. It's looking like a tiny bit powdery at the moment. Might just need a little bit of time to just sit on my skin and maybe that will go away. But so far I think that could be a decent powder. Okay, so moving on to cheeks. The first thing I have is the Patricia Bright Face Palette from Revolution. I got it in Moonlight Glow, which I'm pretty sure is the fair one. So I've wanted this since it came out. However, I've only just got around to buying it. I've obviously tried one of her eyeshadow palettes before. That's what it looks like. See, I don't know, I was kind of hoping that the bronzer would be like a little bit paler, but we'll give it a go today. Maybe it will work alright. So we'll start with the bronzer shade because it is the only bronzing product I have. And I'm just gonna dust that through my cheekbones, on my forehead, just anywhere I need a little bit of bronze. Yeah, I'm already not sure about this colour. I mean, the formula's decent, like it's blended out pretty well, but I just don't feel like this shade is the best for my skin tone. I personally prefer a bronzer that's either like just a sort of neutral brown colour or is a bit more like yellow based, more like caramelly, whereas this one I feel like it's pulling quite like red. I don't know, I just don't think that suits my complexion personally. But the formula is fine. Imagine if you still had like light skin but just a little bit deeper than mine, it probably would work. I will give the blush a go. It's a sort of like corally kind of pinky orangey sort of blush. It does look quite pretty, but we will give this a go and pop that on my cheeks. Okay, it's quite a pigmented blush, but I did find it blended out perfectly fine and it is a pretty colour. So yeah, I like the blush. So we have got a highlight in this palette, but I did also buy another highlighter. I bought Beautybay's highlighter. I needed that as soon as I saw it was released. So it's just called the Powder Highlight. I got the shade Flash and it looks like this. It's a sort of goldy pale shade and I swatched it and oh my god, it looked absolutely stunning. I tried a highlighter palette from Beautybay before and I didn't like it because it had this weird sort of mushy texture, but this one doesn't have a mushy texture at all. It's just like a straightforward powder. I think I'll try out the Patricia Bright one first, just on one cheekbone, just because I want to see what it's like, and then I'll try out my Beautybay one. I did also get this free highlighter brush from Beautybay, but it looks quite big to be a highlighter brush, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. That is actually really pretty. I'm not sure this brush picks up the product very well. I don't feel like it gets a firm grip on it. I feel like maybe this would be good for bronzer actually, more so, or contour. I switched to my smaller Real Techniques brush actually, see if I can build up a little bit more. That actually is a really pretty highlighter in that Patricia palette. I really like that. That's really nice. However, I've got to try this Beautybay one out. It looks so nice. Oh god. So I'm just gonna pop this on the holy shit. Wow. Okay, that might have, oh shit, that might be a bit too much. I'm gonna layer it up over Patricia as well. Why not? Okay, this Beautybay highlighter is insane. That pigmentation, oh my god. I feel like I've gone a bit overboard here. Yeah, you don't need a lot. You don't need to tap your brush in that much really. But the shade works beautifully for my skin tone. I think it comes in 4 different shades, so there obviously are some darker ones available, but that is a stunning highlighter. Fantastic. Can't wait to use that some more. Okay, so moving on to brows, I've got a gel and I've also got a micro brow pencil. So the gel that I've got is from Milani. It's their Stay Put Brow Shaping Gel. I've seen this for quite a while. I only just got around to buying it. Then I also got a micro brow pencil. This one is from Be Perfect and it's the Indestructible Brow Pencil. I got the shade Charcoal, which is just standard micro brow pencil packaging. Start with the gel as I always do, and then I use the pencil to just add a bit more definition. So that's with the wand. It is quite small, a little bit chunkier than what I normally go for, so I'm just going to see how much excess is on it and hope that it's not too much, because that is a pet peeve of mine. Okay, it's definitely got some excess on it, but it's not too bad. Yeah, a little bit, but I've had ones that have like a whole handful of product on, so That's not too bad, so I'm going to just brush this through. In fact, I might have wiped off a bit too much actually. Okay, that's actually like pretty decent. I'm very picky when it comes to brow gels, but I mean it does have a little bit of excess, but not a lot. And I don't feel like it's come out super like clumpy and super like splotchy on my brows. It's brushed them through quite naturally, as you can see. So yeah, I actually quite pleasantly surprised, because when I saw the one, I was like, oh, that's a bit too chunky, which I still think it is a bit chunky. Would rather it be a little bit thinner. But it's not done a too bad job actually. I definitely do need a bit more definition though, but that's kind of how I like it. I kind of like the brow gel to just like give it some fluffiness, fill it in, and then I use the brow pencil to like arch it a bit more. So we'll try out this Be Perfect one. Okay, I think the brow pencil's worked pretty good. It's definitely arched it a bit more. I think I'd prefer it to be like maybe a tiny bit softer, but it's hard to tell from the first use really. I do often use micro brow pencils to fill in my whole brow as well, just by itself with like a clear gel, so we'll need to test it out that way. But so far I think it's pretty decent. I'm not hating those brows. They came out alright. Okay, so I've got to put a bit of this Beautybay highlighter in my inner corner. That is an essential. I think I'm going to use the red, so I'll start with this lighter red here in the palette, and I'm just going to chuck some of that on under my lower lash line. I think I'm going to layer a bit of the more orangey one, just because there isn't really a reddy pastel colour. This is kind of the closest we have to red. I'm going to layer a bit of that over the top of that red. I'm going to use the darker red in the Juvia's Blaze palette, and I'm just going to press some of that up to the lash line. I'm just going to put on a bit more mascara on my bottom lashes. So lastly, I've got two lipsticks to try out. Well, they are the same lipstick, I just got them in two different shades. These are from Melt Cosmetics and they are matte lipsticks. I got one in the shade Old Fashioned and one in the shade Tomboy. It's Old Fashioned, it's quite a deep browny colour. Then this is Tomboy, it's like a pale brown nude. That shade looks absolutely gorgeous. I feel like these would look good layered on top of each other, but I will try them both out on their own as well. Okay, I think I'll start with Tomboy, the paler one, just because this will probably be easier to wipe off. But my lips are a little bit on the dry side right now, but that's okay. And I personally like a matte lipstick, so I'm not that bothered about it being a bit dry. Okay, that is incredibly weird. It looks grey on my lips, but it looks like a brown nude. I mean, if you can see like here, it like comes out grey. That's really weird. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I kind of wanted it to look like the actual colour. I mean, the grey is kind of cool, like it's quite a unique colour. I kind of like it, but it's definitely not what I was expecting. That's really weird. I've seen like colour changing lipsticks before, but I don't feel like it was advertised as that. So that's really odd. Formula wise, it does feel quite matte, which I personally really like in a lipstick. I'm just not sure about. I mean, I do like the colour, but it's obviously not going to be like an everyday wearable shade. I'm wondering if the other shade is going to look different as well. Okay, so I've taken the Tomboy shade off, so I'm now going to try the dark brown colour, which is this going to look dark brown? Who knows? Maybe this will look like a nude. But let's give it a go nonetheless. Okay, so this one actually does look like the colour in a tube. Quite like a vampy brown shade. I do really like the colour. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting one of these lipsticks to be a nude, but I'm afraid we don't really get that. I'm just so confused by this other colour, man. I wanted a pale brown nude. I didn't want a grey. Again, these are very matte, definitely. The colour's very opaque. So I do like the formulas of them, and definitely would love to use this with like a vampy eyeshadow or something. Anyway, that's all of the makeup applied. I'm just going to clean up any mess, sort my hair out, and I'll be back. Okay, so we're back with the finished makeup look. So overall, I'd say my favourite products from today Definitely the Beautybay Highlighter, thought it was great. Both of the brow products, the gel and the pencil, I thought were really good. The Juvia's Place eyeshadow palette I thought worked really good. All of the base products I'm not sure about. I feel like I need to play around with these base products a lot more. I've not fallen in love with anything from first impressions, like the powder, the foundations and the concealer, but nothing I've found awful either, so we'll see about those. Eyeliner in the waterline is worked pretty good, pretty pigmented. I liked the Patricia Face palette, but I'm just not sure about the bronzer, but the blush and the highlighter were pretty nice. So yeah, overall, I feel like a lot of really good finds here. Some question marks. As always, I will be playing around with all of this makeup over the next few months. We are going into a lockdown in the UK later this week. Well, it'll probably already be happened by the time that I've uploaded it. But at the moment, I have no idea if I'm actually going to be working through it or not. We do not know currently. So if I'm not working through it, then I will have plenty of damn time to play around with all of these makeup products. We'll see. I'll definitely use all these products soon in a rotation. Get ready with me. I will do one of those probably next week or so. But yes, I will talk about these makeup products all again in an updated makeup review, probably a November, December one. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.